Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to make the beautiful gown on the thumbnail, so you can make your own into shirt or long depending on how you want it, but I'm going to be making a long version of it. So I'll be using this Ankara print. This is 6 yards and this is half trouser. It's less than one trouser. Okay, this cloth is divided into 3. Okay, so the upper part, the middle part, which I'm going to be using this one for, and then the lower part I'm also going to be using the Ankara for it. So this is for the upper part. I already cut it out. So I have 2 fabrics here, the front and the back folded. Okay, what I did was to just fold my Ankara into 2 like this, okay, to cut it out. So now, to know what you're going to use to cut your own out is your back measurement divided by 2. Okay, mine is 7. Then check for the mine is 7. Then check the length where you want your sleeve to get to. Mine, I want it to stop somewhere here, even when we have not dragged it. Okay, to stop here. Okay, so from mine to here is 13. So mine is 13. Okay, so it's 13. So just go ahead and add 1 inch for your hemming allowance, so that will give you what you're going to be needing for your bodies. Okay, so add your sleeve length plus your back measurement, and then add your sewing allowance to it. Hope that is clear. So now I have both front and back cut out. So what I'm going to do is that this is going to be the front and this is going to be the back. So I'm going to drag this a little bit. What you're going to do is just to drag it a little to get your zipper allowance, which is 1 inch. Okay, so this is the front and this is the back. So now this first part end at the underbust. So my underbust is 14 inches. So you need half an inch to join it to the black part, okay, which is 14 and a half. So you need 1 inch at the top because we are going to be passing a drawstring at the shoulder. So altogether is 15.5. That is what I need. So take your own measurement and use it. So what I have here is exactly 15.5. Hope that is clear. So now let's take our measurements. I'm going to start by taking my back measurement divided by 2, which is 7. Okay, so my sleeve length, which is 13. Okay, and then I'm going to add 1 inch for my allowance, my sewing allowance. So in total what I have here is like 21. Okay, so we're taking our measurement from this one. 21 inches is what we need here. Okay, neck width. Okay, so the neck, I'm going to use 3 inches for my own. Okay, 3 inches. So for the neck width for the back, for the front, I'm going to go down to the entire length. Okay, I'll use the entire length because it's automatically going to overlap each other at this point. Okay, so now for the back, I'm going to do 9 inches, or you can do 10. So 9. Remember, we need half an inch also, 1 inch on top to join the shoulder. So put that into consideration while you're shaping your back. I still do not want the back too deep, so if you want it too deep, you can do 10 instead of 9. You know, after we remove 1 inch from here, we're going to be left with 8. Okay, so put that into consideration. So now neckline, I'm going to mark it all the way to this part. Okay, so mark it all the way to the, okay, so just slant it all the way to the end like this. Okay, so this is for the front neckline. While for the back, I'm just going to put a mark here, okay, where the 3 inches is, and then also here. So now I will leave this up now and then just slant it all the way to this part. Okay, so when we are cutting, we'll just cut it like this all the way like this. Let me just slant it again. Okay, so sorry guys, connect it to this part. So when we are sewing, we'll sew this part like this. So this is the one I'm going to be using. Now this is the back neckline, so we'll put it down like this and then come here. At this point, I'm going to mark 1 inch for my shoulder slope. Okay, 1 inch, and then I'm just going to connect it all the way to this part like this. Nine inches. Okay, 8 inches is for the round sleeve, while 1 inch is for my sewing allowance. So let's take it this way. I'm going to go down by 8 inches and also add 1 inch for my allowance. Okay, so now let's first connect this line all the way straight down to this part now. So 8 inches for this and then 1 inch for the allowance. Okay, this 1 inches is not going to serve as the one when we sew here. Now it's reduced. Hope you understand. You can decide to come in by, from here you can come in by 3 inches and then just create your curve. Okay, hope you understand. So this is it, the straight line, this part, and then just go ahead and create it all the way and then just take it down. Okay, so what you're going to have here is, make sure that what you have here is like your waist measurement. Cut off your waist measurement, cut off your measurement plus extra 10 inches. That's what I have here. Okay, so just connect it all the way down like this. My fabric now, it looks so similar, so I'm just going to put a mark on both front and back. Okay, so now for the front, this is what we're going to have for the back. Okay, so let's set this one aside, and which is this line. Okay, so after drawing my starting line, I'm going to add my ½ inch sewing allowance, because you know we need ½ inch to join it to the fabric. Okay, so I'm going to add it here. Okay, so this is my sewing allowance of ½ inch. Okay, so now the next thing we're going to do now is to go ahead and subtract your underbust. Okay, mine is 14, so place it on this line. This line, not this one. This one is an allowance line. This line, so I'll place it here like this.
Then mark your half length.
Mine is 16, so I'll mark it here. Okay, so now I'll mark 2 inches after my half length. I'll mark it here, and then 6 inches. So I'll stop at 6 inches, because for this it did not get to the hip line. Okay, so this is from here. Now from your half length is 6 inches, so this is like a 1 2 3 4 5 6, so it's going to be at 22 like this. Okay, so now just go ahead and draw the lines. I will explain again so you guys can understand what I'm doing here. Okay, this is like 6 inches. Okay, okay, now so let me explain again. So this from here, this is the allowance. Okay, so from here to here is where our half length starts. So this is the half length. Okay, half length. Okay, HL. Okay, this one is our 2 inches after the half length. Okay, this is 2 inches after the half length. Okay, so this is from here, from the half length to this part is going to be like 6 inches. Okay, 6 inches. Okay, this line is not straight, guys. I'm sorry, I have to straighten up this line. Okay, so from here now, from here to here is 2 inches. So from here to here is 6 inches from your half length. So hope you understand. So what you're going to do now is you're going to go ahead and impute your waist measurement here. So mine is measure around the underbust. Impute the measurement here. Mine is 7.5. Okay, I'll impute it here. It's the same measurements with my half length. So come to your half length and impute your waist measurement, also divided by 4 here. Okay, so now here I'm going to add sewing allowance of 1.5 inches. You can add 1. Okay, 5. Okay, so because I like allowance inside my clothes. Okay, 1.5 here. Okay, so now here you come to here and put your hip measurement. Okay, my hip measurement divided by 4 is 9.25. so impute your hip measurement here, and then add also the sewing allowance here. Okay, so now you're going to go ahead now and connect. So from here to here is the same thing. So from here now, so we're going to connect the meat with our hip like this. Okay, hope you understand. Okay, so just take it like this. Okay, to your hip. Okay, lower part. Now what we're going to do now is from these 2 inches that we came down by, from these 2 inches, so we're going to connect to meet here. Okay, for our basque effect. Okay, so what we're going to do now is to curvely bring it here. Okay, because it's not straight. So from here now I'm going to just do it like this, like a curve. Okay, so I'm going to curve it here like this. Hope you saw what I did, guys. So let's do it again. So just bring it. It's not a straight line, it's a curved line, and it's not a sharp line. Okay, hope you understand. So this is what we have here, guys. So but if you have a ruler, you can put a ruler to just blend in your curve. Use your ruler to blend in your curve, depends on what you want. Okay, so use your ruler. And now I have 2 minutes. I'm not going to cut exactly this line. I'm going to add ½ inch sewing allowance. So right now I have added all my allowance here. Okay, so I'll cut it out here, and I'm going to cut both front and back. Okay, so now for the back I'm going to be eliminating as ½ inch, so that it doesn't have a zipper budge. Okay, so now like I did, I subtracted 14 inches from, this is the sewing allowance of ½ inch here. Okay, so we're going to place it here. So 14 inches here. Okay, so now I took 16 inches for the half length. Okay, so the remaining is so now where the 16 inches is, I'm going to just come in by half inch. Okay, just take away zipper board. Okay, I can do without it when I'm fixing my zipper. There's a way I can do it, and then I'll just eliminate my zipper board. But for the sake of beginners, okay, so we're just going to take half inch now and just blend it back in. Okay, all the way to this part. Let me just use my ruler to blend it all the way back here. Okay, so I'm going to take this part and okay, first we have to join this part before we cut the lower part. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is to set this one aside, and then we're going to work on this one. Okay, so now let's head now and aim this part separately. The sleeve, I'm going to aim it separately. I'll fold half and then fold another half. Okay, on the sleeve I'll do it for the first sleeve, 1 2 3 4 separately. Okay, so once I'm done, I'm going to go ahead now and then join the shoulder. I'm going to join. Once I'm done this, I'll now open it up like this. So this is the right okay, so I'll open it like this. Okay, right side facing right side. So I'll open the back like this. Okay, so I'm going to place it like this, and then okay, this one is for this side and then this one is for this side. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead now and join I'm going to join my shoulders together with 1 inch, and the belt is measuring 1.5 inches, 1.5 inches by 25 inches. So I have 4 of it here. This is 1 2 3 4. So what I'm going to do is to also go ahead and then fold like this. I'm going to fold like this and then fold it into 2. So make sure that it is as tiny as possible. Can you see as tiny as it is? This is so I'm done sewing my rope. Can you see how small they are? So make sure that your ropes are small as possible. So I have 4 of them here. Okay, so now I've also gone ahead to hem the sleeve opening, and then I've joined the shoulders. Okay, for both sides. Okay, so these are the shoulders. Okay, okay, so now if you have light, go ahead and iron open the seam, and you can overlock these edges. But create our cases. So what we're going to do now is I'll fold a little bit in like this in, and then I'm going to just do the same thing to this part. Okay, so I'll just sew it all the way to this part. So if you like, you can put the rope in first and then just sew underneath like this. Okay, and just sew under it. Okay, and do the same thing to the second part. Okay, fold her, cut her, not all to cut her and sew. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing, or you can first sew first and then now pass the rope inside. So if you want to do that method, just sew first and then pass your rope like this with your safety pin. Pass the rope. So you're going to now pass the rope inside like this to this part. Okay, hope you understand. So while I'm doing that, I'm just going to use my bias to aim the neckline for both the front and the back. Okay, so these two aim the neckline. So from the right side like this, I'll place the bias like this, open it up like this, and then just sew all the way to this part. Okay, I'm going to stop around here. Okay, so and then flip it in. Okay, and then stop stitch. So I'll do the same thing to this one. So I've gone ahead to pass in my rope and I stitch it, put my rope and I stitch it inside. So you see how neat it is. So I've also piped the neck for both front and back, and I've passed the rope. So make sure you double stitch this part because of the rope that is here. Okay, when we pull it, we're going to be having this ruche effect at this shoulder. Okay, can you see? Okay, so for now we're going to just leave it. I repeat the same process to this one too. I've ended the neck, I've passed the rope also. So now the next thing we're going to do now is to, I went ahead to now sew a loose stitch here. Put your machine on the loosest stitch now. So we're going to go ahead now and start gathering. So go ahead and pick the upper one like so. Now pick it like this and then start gathering. Okay, what you have here. So now for this front part, now pick the midpoint and then go ahead and notch the midpoint. So this is the front. Let's put a mark here. So the front. Okay, so this is the up. So you're going to now make sure that when you drag it, what you have here is going to fit here, from this midpoint now to this part. Okay, in fact this front is going to overlap a little. Hope you understand. To gather all of them, okay, both the front and the back. So what we're going to do now is to, you see this midpoint here, so this one now, one is going to overlap 1 inch to this side and the other one 1 inch to this side. Okay, so now I'm going to take my front panel. Okay, make sure you arrange it properly. Okay, so this is the front, so this one will start from here. So remember that this part you will not gather the allowance, and okay, make sure you arrange your ruffles evenly. Okay, let it gather evenly. Okay, so now I'll place it like this now, from here now, from here all the way. So it's going to overlap to this side by 1 inch. Okay, hope you saw what I did. Okay, so it will overlap. So we'll go ahead and pin it down. Now once I'm done pinning, so I'm going to take the second one. This is the second front panel. So this second one now, from here now, overlap this one. So I'm also going to pin it down like this. So I'll take it to my sewing machine and stitch it with 1/2 inch. Okay, so now for the back panel too, hope you saw what I did. I've already pinned one. Okay, but I'm going to pin the second one too. So for the back panel, I'm going to take it like this also. Okay, I'm going to now put it this way. Okay, okay, so now from here all the way to this part, I'm going to pin. So I'm going to also pin it like this. So I'm going to go ahead and sew all of this using 1/2 inch. Okay, 1/2 inch. I had to join it. So can you see the front now? It overlaps. Okay, it's overlapping each other. Can you see? So the back also, I've joined it. Okay, can you see? So this my crepe is a little bit stretchy. Okay, so I've reduced my allowance to 1 inch. So what I'm going to do now is to go ahead now and fix my zipper. So I'm going to flip it like this. Zipper allowance is 1 inch, right? I'm going to stitch it up to 1 inch. Okay? From this lower part, I'm going to stitch on 1 inch. Okay, so I'll sew it like this. So from here now, I'll now fix my zipper. Okay, so I'll start my zipper here and then fix it. So I'll cut this part out. Okay, so once I'm done fixing, so let's assume that we have fixed the zipper. So let me just use my pins to hold it down. Okay, remember I've shaped the zipper budge while we're cutting. Okay, so now the next we're going to do after that now is to go ahead now and shape the side of the cone with whatever allowance you added. So for me now, I'm going to use 1 inch to shape the side. Okay, so just shape with the side allowance you left. So at this waist region, I just use your allowance to shape from here now all the way to this part, and do the same thing from this side all the way. So make sure you are having your, don't worry about this upper part, but just make sure that your waist measurement is what you're having at this point. Okay, so for me now, that is what I'm going to maintain at this point. Though my fabric is a little bit stretchy, but I'm just going to maintain that. Okay, here, so I'll just take it all the way down. So and I will fix my zipper. To fix my zipper and close the side. Okay, so this is my zipper. So make sure that these 2 points matches, and this is my zipper. Okay, so the next thing we are going to do is to measure the length of the top. So now from the shoulder, okay, you're going to go ahead now and measure this side. Okay, so I've shaped the clothes, so I'm going to measure from here to here now to know the length of my gown. So from here now, what I have here is like it's 18.5. okay, 18.5. okay, so we're going to use half to join it. So what we have here is 18. So now full length of our gown is 58. I'm sewing a longer version, so if you are sewing a shorter version at this point, just subtract your full length from whatever you have here. Okay, so mine is 58, so minus 18, so we're going to be left with 40. Okay, now for the lower part, we're going to end by 1, and we need half to join it to this part, so that's 1.5. So what we have here is 41.5. okay, so but I'm going to just make it 42. Okay, so 42, that's what I'm going to cut for the lower part. Okay, but if you're sewing a shorter version, you can still subtract your short gown from whatever you have on top here. So what I have here is, you're going to measure what you have here, okay, what you have here, and multiply it by 3 or 4. Okay, multiply it by 3 or 4, whatever you have here, multiply it by 3 and 4. Mine is 34, so this is 3 yards of fabric here, 3 yards of akara. What I have here is like a times 3 plus extra 6 inches, times 3 then plus extra 6 inches. That's what I have here. So what I'm going to do now is to go ahead now and now hem the lower part. Okay, so I'm going to hem the lower part. I'll fold half and fold another half, and I'll hem the lower part. So I'm going to now sew the top, this upper part. I'm now going to sew a loose stitch and then loose stitch here, then we'll now gather it. So we'll gather it together. Okay, so I've gone ahead to hem the lower part. Okay, I hem the lower part, and I ran a gather stitch to gather it. Okay, and I also joined it by half of an inch at the side. Okay, so now the next thing is to just go ahead now, and then we're going to now pin this part. Okay, this joining part should be at the back. Okay, it should be at the zipper part like this. Okay, so we're going to now tuck this inside like this, and then I'm just going to go ahead now and stitch it all the way around.
This is the final look when I was done joining the lower parts of the gown. If you have learned 1 or 2 things from this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, share this video, and drop a comment. I love you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Don't stop learning, keep learning. Bye.